Okay, so this one still bothers me. We're talking about Patrice Endres. It was April 15th, 2004 in Cumming, Georgia. She's at her salon, Tamber's trim and tan, just living her life, doing her job. It's the middle of the day. And in the space of a few minutes, 13 to be exact, she just disappears. I mean, completely vanishes into thin air. Her purse is there, her keys are there, the cash drawer is empty, but the detail that really makes the hair on my arm stand up, her lunch was still warm in the microwave. She was coming right back. And you have to understand who they took. Patrice wasn't just a name in a case file. She was a mom. Her son, Pistol, was everything to her. This salon, Tamber's, this was her absolute dream. She'd worked so hard for it, and it was finally hers. People who knew her said she was just one of those bright, happy people, you know? The kind of person who made you feel good just by being around them. She was building this perfect life for herself and her son. And then, in an instant, someone walks into the physical embodiment of her dream and rips her right out of it. It's just profoundly unfair. And the location? It wasn't some spooky, isolated back road. Her salon was in one of those little strip malls you see everywhere. You know the type, a pizza joint, maybe a tax place, a nail salon. It's the kind of place you'd stop out on your way home from work to run a quick errand. Broad daylight, cars pulling in and out, people walking right past her front door, completely preoccupied. It's aggressively normal, the most boring everyday setting imaginable. There are no shadows, no dark corners, just life happening. It's what makes the whole thing feel so impossible. So, around noon, two of her regular clients arrive. They push open the door, probably expecting the usual sound of hair dryers and gossip, but instead, it's just dead quiet. That's the first thing that feels wrong. Then they spot it. Patrice's purse is sitting on the counter. Her keys are right there. Her car is parked just outside the door, but it's at a strange angle, not in its usual spot. It's all just off. They call her name a couple of times, no answer. And that's when one of them glances over at the register. The drawer is wide open, and it's completely empty. In that split second, they know. This isn't a misunderstanding. This is bad. Right, so let's break this down. The first clue everyone sees is the empty cash drawer. Okay, simple robbery. Makes sense. Except it doesn't. Her purse, with her wallet and credit cards, is sitting right there on the counter. Her keys are there too. What kind of robber takes the cash from the register but leaves a whole purse behind? And the car? It's parked out front at a weird, rushed angle. Some think the attacker moved it there. Why? To make it look like she left in a hurry? As if a kidnapper is going to take the time to repark the victim's car. It's just bizarre. The pieces don't fit. And here it is. The absolute core of the mystery. The part that makes my head hurt. Investigators piece together a timeline from phone records and witness statements. Patrice finishes a phone call at exactly 11:38 in the morning. The two customers who found the salon empty, they walked in the door at 11:51. That is a 13-minute window. 13 minutes. In that time, someone managed to enter the salon, overpower a struggling woman, rob the register, move her car, and vanish from a public shopping center in broad daylight without leaving a trace or being seen. It's ridiculous. It's not enough time. It feels physically impossible. So, the 911 call is made, and everything just ignites. You have to picture the scene. Squad cars descending on this normal little shopping center, lights flashing, radio squawking. They tape off the salon, instantly turning this woman's dream into a sterile crime scene. Police start fanning out immediately, combing the woods behind the plaza, questioning people in other stores, trying to find anyone who saw anything. Her family gets the news. Her son, Pistol, finds out his mom is just gone. The initial shock quickly boils over into frantic, sickening fear. And with every hour that passes with no word, the pit in everyone's stomach just gets deeper and deeper. The search is on, and it's a race against the clock. Of course, the first person investigators look at is the husband, Rob Endres. His version of the story was straightforward. According to Rob, he was a devoted husband and their marriage was happy. He said he doted on Patrice and was the one who helped her get the salon, her lifelong dream. From his point of view, they were a perfect couple, and he was absolutely heartbroken that the love of his life was gone. On the day she disappeared, he had a solid, verified alibi, placing him miles away. To hear him tell it, there was no trouble in paradise whatsoever. Yeah, about that perfect marriage? That's not the story her family and friends told, not even close. They painted a much, much darker picture. According to them, Rob was intensely jealous, possessive, and controlling. They said the marriage was unraveling and that Patrice was miserable. And then came the bombshell. They claimed she was actively planning to divorce him and was getting ready to leave. Her son, Pistol, in particular, had a very strained relationship with his stepfather. So, you have two completely opposing stories. Rob is claiming it's a fairy tale, while her closest loved ones are saying it was a nightmare she was trying to escape. So, what are we supposed to do with that? On one hand, you have a husband with a classic, textbook motive. If the family is right, his wife was leaving him, and he was a possessive man about to lose control. He knew her schedule, he knew when she'd be alone. But on the other hand, you have a verified, police-approved alibi that says he couldn't have been there. So which is it? How can the most likely suspect also be the one person who physically could not have done it? You can't be in two places at once. And so, the case goes cold. The initial flurry of activity dies down. The yellow tape comes down, weeks turn into months, months turn into a year, then nearly two. For most people, the story fades, replaced by new headlines. But for her family, for her son, time just stretches on in this agonizing silence. Imagine that. Every single day you wake up and the first thing you think about is her. Hope is a brutal thing. It keeps you going at first, but after so long it just corrodes. It hollows you out, leaving this aching need for answers, for closure, for anything other than the not knowing. Then, after all that silence, the case just explodes. Get this, a man named Jeremy Jones, a known serial killer already in custody for other brutal murders, starts confessing. And out of the blue, he tells investigators that he abducted and murdered a hairstylist from a salon in North Georgia. He confesses to killing Patrice, and he's not just guessing, he knows things. He describes details about the crime scene that were never made public. Details that, in theory, only the police and the killer could possibly know. After almost 2 years of absolutely nothing, suddenly they have a confession from a monster. This is it. This has to be the guy. But this case is just relentless. Just as everyone thinks they finally have the answer, Jones yanks the rug out from under them. He recants, takes the whole confession back, says he made it up. And just like that, the most promising lead in 2 years evaporates. It's whiplash. 1 minute you have your killer, the next you're back to square one. Some cops still think it was him, that he's just playing twisted games. Others are forced to throw the confession out entirely. The case is once again completely up in the air. Then, in December of 2005, nearly 2 years after she was taken, the waiting is finally over. But not in the way anyone had hoped. A discovery is made in a wooded area. It's the news the family has been bracing for, the one they never wanted to hear. Skeletal remains are found, and dental records confirm their worst fears. It's Patrice. After 600 days of agonizing uncertainty, they finally know where she is. She was found behind a church in the Dawson Forest, just a few miles from her salon. The search for a missing woman was over. The hunt for her killer had just begun. Now you need to know about the Dawson Forest. It's not just a random patch of woods. This place, it has a history. It's known for being dense, remote, and a place where things can disappear. And here's the detail that will make your skin crawl. This same forest was also the dumping ground for another monster, a completely separate serial killer named Gary Hilton. So you have this one dark, quiet forest that has now been the final resting place for victims of two different killers. It's not just woods, it's a place that evil people know about, a place with secrets. So they find Patrice in this specific, remote forest, a tragic but seemingly random location. But then the story takes a turn that is just statistically impossible. Years after Patrice is found, another monster, a serial killer named Gary Hilton, is arrested for murdering a young hiker. When investigators ask him where her body is, he leads them to the very same place, the Dawson Forest. Two different women murdered years apart by supposedly two different men, both dumped in the same small patch of Georgia woods. How? Is it just the most insane coincidence in criminal history? What are the odds? Okay, so let's break down the theories, because each one is both perfect and perfectly flawed. First, you have the husband, Rob Endres. He has the motive, a controlling nature and a wife who was about to leave him. But here's the problem with that. He has a verified, rock-solid alibi. He simply wasn't there. Then you have Jeremy Jones, the serial killer who confessed. It seems like a slam dunk. He knew details only the killer would know. The problem, he took it all back, and serial killers are notorious for false confessions and playing games. Finally, there's Gary Hilton, the other serial killer. The coincidence of him using the exact same forest as a dumping ground is too wild to ignore. But the issue there is a complete lack of evidence. There is nothing that actually connects him to Patrice's murder. Every theory leads straight to a brick wall. And so, the years keep passing. For the world, it's a cold case, a chilling story. But for Patrice's family, it's a wound that never heals. Her son, Pistol, had to navigate his entire adult life carrying this giant, unanswered question. He lost his mother in the most brutal way imaginable, and he's never been given the justice of knowing who was responsible or why. Think about that. Every holiday, every birthday is haunted by her absence and the silence that surrounds her murder. They are trapped in that 13-minute window forever, waiting for a resolution that may never come. It's a grief that has no end. And that's where it remains. Frozen. A story with no last page. All the suspects, all the bizarre clues, they all just circle back to that single, maddening question. How does a person simply vanish from a busy salon in the middle of the day in 13 minutes? Her lunch was still warm. She was in the middle of a thought, a task, a breath, a life completely lived one moment and utterly erased the next. Someone out there holds the key to that impossible window of time. They know what happened behind that door, and they've been silent for over 20 years.